Hello, world. The subject today is about being a grown-up. If you're a grown-up in politics, you need some of the things that we talk about on the channel. You need to learn to be your own counselor, your own caregiver, and your own artist inside your own mind. That's not just self-actualization is just growing up and being reflective and you also need to be able to learn from humbly those who are more objective, more creative, and more compassionate. Yeah, that's part of growing up too. Our human brain isn't fully developed until 25, and people after that need a user's manual because they don't have the experience. And there's a lot to experience. A lot of people who watch our channel are 45 and up, a little more grown up. But we would like to encourage young people to also tune in, and we do know that some of you are geniuses. And one thing I have to note is that in the process of growing up, we have little babies who are absolute geniuses, and somehow we dumb them down with our way of boring them to death in classrooms. And that's just sad. So what can we do about that? What can we do about helping kids grow up and not lose that wonderful ability to explore and to really think, or to try to think? And sure, that there are stages of growth in which kids don't understand empathy that well, but that comes along. That's part of growing up, isn't it? And so how do we do that? Well, we're very political on this show, and we endorse emotional and social intelligence classes in our public schools. What is that? Well, for lay people like myself, they describe emotional intelligence as self-awareness, self-control, and empathy. We have a different way of breaking that down. We talk about 3 forms of empathy, which to us is a kind of sharing of feeling and adding needed grown-up abilities like being creative, objective, and compassionate. Now, we are this is a very liberal channel. Why? Because look at the positive definition of the word. I want you to understand that people who are not so grown up tend to take good words, and maybe try to manipulate people. To have a bad opinion of that if it suits their more childish opinions. So Let's take a look at that. What happens when you don't have these abilities? And let's look at why people may not have them. Well, there's a lot of reasons why they don't have them. One is that they've never learned them from the people around them. And the other is what I like to call damaged faith and love, which is a warmer way of saying trauma. And of course, there's two kinds of trauma. There's complex PTSD, which is has to do with basic, strong needs that usually are involved with maturation. So sometimes they call it child PTSD, but that's not completely correct. It is a little complex because you're dealing with trauma due to needs not being met. PTSD is more like having your friend seriously wounded right beside you in war or something, or nearly in a terrible car crash or something. But there's always need associated even with PTSD. The need to get away, the need to distance yourself emotionally from the impact. A lot of different needs are involved. So everything on this channel is about human need, and in the good liberal sense, loving everybody as much as we can. That does not mean not promoting the things that help people be grown-ups. It does not mean that we tolerate people who threaten democracy, which is where human rights can develop and grow. No. And, and it feels like hate to people who are really wounded inside and have trouble. It actually causes them pain to be more creative, compassionate, and objective. It hurts a bit, And you can kind of tell that, with the very conservative people, that they have a more narrow range of who they're feeling compassionate toward. There's a tendency to, and not always in combination, but of these three things, but significant in at least one. And the other is if you try to get them to think more objectively, to doubt the things that they say, to cite their sources and try to make good arguments, to be more logical. They seem to have a little trouble with that. And hate and fear get in the way of people thinking, and that's what people feel a lot when they've been damaged. There's a lot more defensive forms of feelings. Not that anger and fear are bad; they're good in their proper place. There's probably no sicker mind than someone who's trying to be all positive, unless it's somebody trying to be all negative. It's emotions are a flow. Yeah. And you need access to all of them to integrate your experiences. Now, what makes these traumas so painful is helplessness involved with them. That is not something any mammal can handle. And there are ways that, we can store that and then approach it again and unlearn the helplessness around it, around feeling it. When you hear us mention primal, that's what we're talking about. Feeling it from a safe position and in various ways so that you can overcome the feeling of helplessness, which is the part that is so incredibly painful and anxiety provoking. Something that once upon a time was a matter of survival to not feel. And that leads to a low amount of virtue, and that's kind of sad. Your virtues come from these forms of empathy, and yeah. So, I don't know if I've lost you, because it's not a communication. I can't, what did you understand so far? Don't feel bad if you don't understand all these things. Those of us on the channel done a lot more thinking about some of these things than most. And so that's the healing procedure, and that's part of growing up with you, especially if you've had trauma. And who hasn't had trauma? Probably everyone, to one degree or another. And when I say trauma, it means it has to be significant. It has to be something that connects to feelings of just helplessness, an inability to cope. No way to defend yourself, no way to deal with what's coming at you. If it doesn't have helplessness involved, you just scratched your finger. Yeah. Not life-threatening kind of feeling, right? Another thing I'd like to cover is that when people are hurting, and that means feeling very helpless, they can be power mongering. They want a lot of power, like Elon Musk and Trump and a lot of others. And there's also something about having too much power that causes people to be less social. If you're less social, you're less empathetic. You're in your own camp. And that at some point becomes rather selfish. So, Elon Musk is just a lost kid to me. He's not very grown up in these ways, and he gets very excited, and he wants power, because evidently there are strong feelings of helplessness in him. That's why when you see a bully, they always say, it's bullies are cowards, stand up to them. Yeah, unless they have a machine gun, then you'd be very, very careful. But yeah, there's a lot of fear in them, but once they're not a threat to you, you can be compassionate, and you can understand that they're feeling that kind of fear, that they're turning into that helplessness, that painful, fearful helplessness, and the feeling has them. They don't have the feeling. That's the problem. So that kind of feeling, well, sure, it makes you more, cowardly in the sense that you want to have power, and that it makes you more selfish. So, because that pain's all about you. If you're in enough pain, you're very concerned about you. So that's all understandable. But you don't allow bullies to be in positions of power. They're hurting inside. They need to be helped and healed if we can, and kept from doing any harm to other people. And you call that so liberal? Yeah, you're right. And liberal is the right way to go. A lot of the laws that we have are all about punishment. When you hear me talking about being a mystic, that's a deep subject. You probably, just looking up the term, you might not get what I'm saying, because I believe a mystic is someone who understands mythology and its impact, and who is on a road to maturization, self-actualization, self-discovery. That's what I mean. And when you understand all of the when you understand all of those kind of things that we talk about, that I talk about, because I'm the one that talks a lot more about that so far. That's my shtick. And I think, well, Bruce and Mike also share the same ideas. I just like to talk about them. and to show how they apply to politics, and they do. Yeah, it is more liberal to forgive, the way Jesus said, to share, to not trust in wealth. The other thing is that this helplessness is about need. It's not just about need for power, which is because you were helpless once, but it's a need to get your needs met, and the real needs, dealing with them, like global warming, things like that. Understanding real need means you got to be a real grown-up to really understand human need the way you need to, in order to be a counselor to yourself or others, or to be in government, in other words, or to be a caregiver, caretaker, or to be a person who is creative and artful in how they handle things. So, yeah, this is about being a grown-up, just to tie it together. This is about being a real grown-up. All of it. Everything on the channel. It's about growing up and in love. And liberal is a good thing. And wanting more and more wealth, and more and more and more and more wealth, well, that's a problem. That's a very bad problem. It's, Jesus told the rich young man, if he wanted to follow him, to go and sell all he had and give to the poor, and come follow me. He was not a lover of wealth. The prosperity gospel was not the thing that Jesus said, Why are you putting all this stuff into a barn where it's going to rot? People can come in and steal it, and it says invest in the spiritual. Well, what is the spiritual? Well, it means doing good. When you do good, and you're investing in yourself and other people, and that's a stronger investment. And also, it means that you are able to connect better with your inner artist, that mystic kind of thing, where you're realizing that there is within you that which creates, filters what you see and hear, and creates your everything you imagine to be true or to be false. And what I say, I call this artist your higher self. Your because it's outside of what your dramatic experience of time, can enjoy the story of your life no matter what's going on in it, and love you in it, and love others in theirs. This is a higher kind of perspective. It's up above the fray, but it needs to be used in a caring way, and so personifying it's that's okay. But rationally, it is at least, and primarily probably your brain. Yeah. So, self-realization is a journey toward, or growing up is a journey toward knowing yourself, and knowing in yourself the closest thing to a you is the closest thing to a you is your brain. It's not your finger. It's not your nose. The real you, well, you can say it's the whole network, the nervous system and so on. True to an extent, but mainly it's your brain. That's where you have a self-image or self-concept in the first place. So, and don't get carried away with being one with the universe and all that. That's how you were born. You didn't have a self-concept. And when your mind tries to deal with that, it rationalizes and says, I'm one with the universe, and I don't have a self, and, what's the other thing? I could be just about anybody, and all of those things are true in a way. But I wouldn't get lost in that. That's not how you deal with real life. But it's interesting, and one should be in touch with that. That's what I call the infant mind, and you can be injured there during that period of your life, and you might need to go there in order to unlearn helplessness to feel in that area. So, but we're big advocates of well-trained experts in every field, and boy, isn't that liberal. We want people to know what they're talking about. Anyway, before this old man starts to rambling too much, I wanted to, uh, catch you up a little bit. the channel is growing. Our team is growing a bit, and we have very interesting people. And do subscribe to the channel. We will pick from among you people to invite to our Zoom calls, so we can amplify your voice and not just our own. And it's also you can create your own videos and submit it to a team member, and we'll take a look at it, and if it's not breaking YouTube rules and things like that, we will publish your opinions, not opinions against the need for empathy or for more liberal, you might even say Christ-like or Buddha-like. Yeah, you can name other figures. Yeah. And whatever gets you through the night, but making claims that you can't back up, why you do that? Just as a tip of the hat, I've had paranormal seeming experiences, but I cannot I can't define them well, and I can't prove anything any take that I had on what they meant. So I try to be quiet about those things pretty much, unless people ask about it. But and there's some interesting overlaps, the things that I've experienced in inner mind communication, near-death experiences. Yeah, it's very early in the morning here, if you can't tell. It's a time when it's a little quieter outside, and I don't have to guard the mic as much from extraneous sounds. So so do subscribe for those reasons, and just because it helps get our if that's all you do, it helps the channel. You're kind of on the team already. And if you share the videos, that really helps. If you make comments, that helps. Even negative ones help. Yeah. And we don't know everything. Maybe you know something we don't know. That's quite possible. Always let us know what you think. And we need to share, the videos, if you can, please. And if you like a video, give us a like, give us a pat on the back. That helps us feel good. We're doing this mostly as a hobby or a fun thing. If it takes off and it's getting a need for funding and things like that, later, and we'll give the opportunity to you to help us out that way too. Right now, we need you. And without people, the channel really isn't much, is it? I'd like to have a shout out to the Midas Touch channels, who are doing a fantastic job on politics here in the United States. We focus not just on the United States, but on every country. And your views from your country would be very interesting, and we would love to hear from you in the comments. Love to hear from you. On our team now, we have people from across the United States. I'm on the far east side, and others in the middle of the country, and others in the far west. And we have someone from Canada on the more toward the east. So, and of course north from us. So, and we're growing, and we hope that you will join us and help us out. Because look, if we don't learn how to love each other, and there are ways to do that, that means fighting against people who are too sick to be in government, means calling them out. And it means getting people to vote the right way. And maybe that feels like hate to you. If you're hurting inside, and we're talking about things that might trigger you a little. That doesn't mean we hate you. So, if you'll do all those things, we would appreciate it. And until next time, remember, you're not just in a world of wonder. You're part of that wonder. You're wonderful. One way or another. Even if you're really hurting and you've done a lot of bad things, and you're still valuable. You're a valuable trading partner in humanity. We can learn from you. And when we love you, we love ourselves. And we open the door for you to grow. And for us to grow together. Yeah. But power mongering and greed, that's not our thing. That is not our thing. Make sure that you heard that. Call us liberal. That's a good phrase. And some people seem to want to make good things sound bad. Like they will call the Democratic Party the Democrat Party, for instance. Here in the United States, it's kind of childishness goes on everywhere where people are more right wing and or sometimes too far left. But it's kind of childish, and it should be seen as such. A death tax. So you can feed the greed of the wealthy by getting rid of that. Hello, we got rid of a king. We don't want to create more. And if you're so wealthy you can buy the government, you need to listen to what Jesus said to the rich guy. Or you're not going to have one of those really nice near-death experiences. If you have one, you might have a very negative one, a little scolding, and that's sad. You're not going to find fulfillment in life by having lots of money or power. Your real wealth and power come from what ties us all together: compassion. And creativity and objectivity, which give us the virtues: truth from objective empathy, and compassionate empathy gives us goodness, and creative empathy gives us artfulness. There's so much more to that, and at times we might talk about that. But the world's in crisis right now. we're having a rise of fascist inclinations around the world, and we're here to be a resistance against that. So join the team. And as I said, until next time, do remember that you're wonderful.